Sorry guys, I missed out to record the meeting. So here, the development life cycle, we will be having multiple phases. Requirement gathering, where we will be getting the requirements from the customer. Design and planning is like where we will be designing our solution and also defining our timelines, when the development can be completed, when testing can be completed, and when we can deploy the go live date. By what time we can complete and we can release the product to the customer. And the development is like actual implementation. The coding part will come into the picture where the developer will play the major role. And the testing is like to test like whether the application is as per the requirements or not. So based on the requirements, we will be defining the test cases and we will be testing that application. Once it is successfully tested, it will go into the deployment. Here in the testing, we will be having some sub phases as well. Unit testing, integration testing, UAT, user acceptance testing. After user acceptance testing, we will go for the deployment. And here the unit testing is like individual modules we will be testing, and the integration testing is like the final outcome, or the complete application is developed and the application we will be testing. And this will be almost done by the developer, because when he is developing itself, the unit testing will be done. And the integration testing is like where the proper tester will be doing. User acceptance testing is nothing but the business user is going to do the user acceptance test. So this is very high level for the SDLC. And our focus area is RDLC. RPA, development life cycle. So more or less the things will be same. Like it depends on organization and the technology we are using, the things will change, right? But more or less these things will be changed. The names might be different. Here the phases is discovery, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, hypercare, maintenance. And support. So here we will be having all these 8 phases. So each phase will have its own outcomes, and also there will be a specific role for each phase, like what role the person is going to do. In discovery phase, here it will be Beck's team or business team. That's in the sense business excellence. The people who, if you came across like Six Sigma or something, they are like in terms of optimizing the process or stabilizing the process or improving the process. So the people who is like more involved into the process improvement, they will come and they will generally take care of this discovery. So we will come to that phase, like what actually they are going to do. Here the analysis phase will be business analyst, and the design phase solution architect. Here it is developer, QA. Altogether, right? Deployment will be more into the infra team or admin. Hypercare will be by the developer and QA. Maintenance and support will be support team. We will be having L1, L2, L3. L3 is nothing but the dev team. So these are the different roles we are going to have in each of the phase. And so don't think that like all the time you will be having all these roles or all these position people are available. Sometimes majority of the cases RPA, the developer will play all the roles. It depends on organization and the team and the project as well. But in for sure, like all these 4 stages, the developer will be there. So I got a question. Functional testing or unit testing is same or different? See, when you are testing only the functionality, in that case, both are same. But in RPA, functional testing and the unit testing doesn't make any difference because we will be testing how the functionality is working. In application level, functional testing will be completely different because in applications you will be testing both the functionality and the user interface and the integrations and everything. It depends on application to application. But here in RPA, it will be same because RPA will have only the functionality. We are not going to have anything. Even the integration is also the functionality. Discovery and feasibility both are same or different? It is a bit different. Almost like both are similar, but yeah, we will be coming to there, Raghavendra. So here these are the different roles we generally have. So the discovery phase, when we call the discovery phase, majority of the cases RPA we will not do any performance testing because RPA is not meant for the performance. It is meant for accuracy and like eliminating the human intervention. So here the discovery phase. So guys, if you don't mind, you just drop your questions and I'll take all the questions at the end. But you keep on dropping in the chat. So here the discovery phase. So what the outcome of this? Business requirement document. But it all depends. Like we can say BRD, list of processes, because the discovery phase is to identify the processes which can be automated by business team, not by our RPA team or from the software team. It will be by the business team or business excellence team. I mentioned the BEX, right, which is nothing but the business excellence team. And here itself, the processes will be prioritized. So the processes prioritization will be done based on the complexity and the criticality in nature and the urgency or requirement by the business. They want to automate some critical process first and then to go for the other, and so many factors will affect that. also like the volume or time consumption, all these will factor, and based on that priority the automation pipeline will start. So this is all about the discovery phase, and we will come to the analysis now. Analysis phase, generally we will be doing the feasibility, and also we will assess the automation potential. Here the business analyst will come into the picture. Business analyst will come into the picture and understands the requirements, which is nothing but, other words we can say, requirement gathering. So here business analyst will understand the requirements and then assesses the automation potential. Also here we will define whether the process is fit for the automation or not. And sometimes like the process can be partially automated, the same suggestions will be given back to the business team, and it's up to the business team call whether to go for the automation or not. See, when I say the business team, in the sense it can be an internal team or it can be an client. Here in the same organization also, sometimes you may need to do internal automation. So such an internal automations, we will be having the business team. Business team is the people who are doing the work manually. We can call them as SMEs as well, because those are the folks who are doing that process manually, and we need to understand the complete process from them only. And here the business analyst will communicate with the business users, and he'll gather all the requirements, and the outcome of this phase is PDD, process definition document. So where all the process steps and everything is captured. So the major points, you can say, what we generally have in the PDD. Even that is one of the very much important question in interviews. What you will have in the process definition doc? As is process, to be process, detailed steps with screenshot, and possible exceptions. We can say business rule validations, application validations. So these are the major 4 points we generally capture as part of the process definition document. And this as is process and to be process, what actually mean by these two is, as is process is something that what actually they are doing now manually, and to be process is like how the automation will look like. Sometimes both may be same, sometimes both may not be same, because see, in as is process, as a human you know what to do, and in between you may just go to some application and check some data and come back to here and take some decisions, but robot cannot do that. So such a values, whatever we are requiring, those values we will be putting in some mapping, and the bot will refer to that and update the same back. And sometimes in as is process we will be doing directly in the user interface, and if an API is available, that we will consume in the to be process, and they might require some reporting kind of thing, like how the robot is doing. So some email notifications may need to be kept here, and the transaction information might be captured in some database or some Excel or somewhere to send it as a report, which we may not have in the as is, because the human knows that they completed the transactions, but when the robot is working, they are not aware. So they are expecting some kind of report by end of the day. If any error is coming, a notification email. So those steps will be included in the to be process, and also the detailed steps and its descriptions with the screenshots will be given. Without that, it will be very hard for architect to design the solution and also to developer to build the automations. And the possible exceptions, in the sense, what are the business rule validations, in the sense, when you are working on a process, there might be a possibility that like some values are not as expected in the application. So in such a scenarios, what the human is doing and what the robot should do. So in these scenarios, what will happen is, how we are going to capture is exception, value, action if the expectation is not met, which means like you are expecting a value to or some expected scenario is there, but in actual it is not as per that. In that case, what action needs to be taken? So that we will be defining in our PDD itself. So any queries till this place before going further? So the next stage is design stage. Design stage is will be doing our solution design, which means like how the solution will look like, what type of framework we are using, what type of applications we are using, what type of actions we are going to perform, what architecture we are going to follow to build the solution. And when we are doing the solution design, considerations while designing the solution: scalability, so scalability is nothing but suppose if it is working for one transaction, and let us suppose if we added some more data, and in that case, without changing any code, like without doing any modifications to the existing code, we want that to work. So that we call it as a scalability. And also this is the measure, and also we will be checking performance in the sense, like we will be checking like how optimized code we can develop, how optimized solution we can do. Also, what else? Okay, for now, just remember these two. I'll just come up with something like when we are doing the SDD. I forgot a couple of things. And in this phase, the outcome of this is SDD, solution design document. So we are going to build this solution design document, and the person who is working in this is solution architect. Scalability, performance, readability. So here, what are you going to have in the SDD? In SDD, architecture diagram, and process flows, which means like which will represent your architecture, and reusable components. Yes, reusability. It means like the same action you are doing multiple times across your process. If we can build that as a reusable component, we can utilize them at any place, so that it will help us to building the same thing multiple times. If any changes happen, we can just change at one place. Reusability, list of arguments and variables you want to use, list of workflows to develop, reusability, list of arguments and variables, standards which needs to be followed as per the organization. We will be keeping that as well. Rollback plans, or we can say disaster recovery. Akash, the coding standards itself is the best practices. Disaster recovery. In case if the process is not working as expected, what is our backup plan? We can say this as a backup plan. And of exceptions. To be performed. So these are the things we generally have in the solution design document. Now it is our phase, development. developing the code as per SDD. So SDD will become your Bible when you are doing the development of the code. Outcome is developed process workflows. Testing. So here we will be doing the developing, also unit testing. Here we will be doing the integration testing, and then user acceptance testing. This is by tester. This is by the business owner or business user. So even here also, what we will do is, after testing, need to publish test results to business users. Because once we get the confirmation on the business test results from the business users, then only we can be confident that it was working as expected. If we tested ourselves and we didn't share this with business users, there is a high chances of failure at the user acceptance testing. Even if it fails in the integration testing, it will not be a challenging. But if the user acceptance testing, if you encounter any error failures, that will be an escalation. Simply the business users will say that like your team didn't tested anything. So that will be the challenge which you are going to face. Once the business user tested and they are confident with the solution, then they will give the sign off. Sign off in the sense like we can deploy the process. Here it is test results. Outcome is test results. It's a sign off for the deployment. And the next phase is deployment. Infra team will come into the picture, or orchestrator admin. Sometimes the developer may be doing that admin role. So it all depends on the organization to organization. So here the deployment is nothing but publishing tested code from non-production to production. Whatever we have done till now is completely in the non-production, and whatever we are going to publish is to the production. Production in the sense like which is working on the live data and the real-time data. And till now whatever we have done till the testing place, it is not the live data. And after this, hypercare. So we will be having this hypercare period because there will be high chances of the failure, because high chances of failure due to changing from test data to real-time data. So there might be a possibility that the failures may happen because you are changing from non-production to the production. So there will be a high chances of failure here. And what we will do in hypercare, we go for immediate and hot fixes. Which does not require any CR. An email approval is fine. So why we are having this period is, as soon as we move the production to the production, what will happen is like there will be chances of failure. If any failure is happened, we doesn't want to wait for a couple of like for a week at least, and we want to go for an immediate fix. So that's the reason for which we will have this hypercare period, because if you raise a CR, that will take as per their organization policies, there will be a fixed day of 1 week for a week, and only it happens deployment on that day, or fixes whatever we have done, those we can move only on that day, and you may need to wait for a week. And CR is nothing but the change request. So what will happen is, when you are going with the CR, again you need to go for all the SDLC cycle. Like, forget about the design, but we need to fix that, and we need to do the testing, and after that we need to go for the UAT, and then we need to get the sign off. Let us suppose as per your organization, the CR deployments will happen only on Thursday, and you completed your testing on Friday, and again you need to wait for till the next Thursday. That is the reason for which we will be having a hypercare period in between to give the hot fixes. And support. So here the support team will be there. L1 and L2. L3 will be the dev team. In case if the issue is very big, in that case only the L3 will come in the picture. So here there are two kinds of things. Issues happened in production, queries from the business team, and monitoring. So here there is no problem in the process, but the business is thinking that like it was not worked as expected. So in that case they will come up with the queries, and we just need to clarify them for the reason why the bot behaved in that way. So sometimes the data might be not correct, and the business team is saying that like bot is failing. So we just need to tell them, investigate and tell them that the data itself is not correct, and the monitoring of the processes and robots will be done by the L1. If any issue was happened in the production, then the L2 will come into the picture. And if the changes are too big, and if it is going till the solution level, then the development team will come into the picture. And here we covered all the phases. There is one term, change management, which is nothing but moving to production and hand over to managing maintenance team. from the dev. So in this case, we will be writing, the outcome will be run book, or we can say, we can use run book. So which means like how the process was expected and in which scenarios, how it is going to work. So we will be doing all these things. So this we generally call it as a change management, how we are moving from production to production and handovering the complete process from the dev team to the maintenance team. And there is one more thing. I'm just giving some terminologies which are like kind of most frequently used. RCA, root cause analysis. After moving to the production, if any error occurred, to identify why that was happened, and for that we need to identify the actual reason, and we need to document. We need to document the reason why the error occurred, and we will be maintaining that document. That we call it as a root cause analysis document, or RCA document. Hope we are covered with the RPA development life cycle and some other terms which are like generally we use in day-to-day life in the organization. And now we are open for the questions. So if you have any questions, please feel to unmute and ask the questions, or chat, give in the chat. So both will be fine. The team, you guys there or no? Okay. Any questions, guys? I'm expecting everyone is good with this. And if you guys have any queries, like I can wait for a few more minutes. Guys, thanks for joining, and we'll connect back on Monday, and I'll send out the meeting invite by Sunday. Thanks everyone.